The version of you who built your business or created this life you are living now got you here. But she may also be the reason you're still making decisions like it's 3 freaking years ago. And I think we need to talk about that, because there comes a point in business and honestly in life when the version of who got you here is not necessarily the version who should keep running the whole damn thing. That doesn't make her wrong. That doesn't make the old business wrong. It doesn't mean you wasted time. Nothing is wasted. It means something changed. Maybe your life changed, your capacity changed, your health changed, your priorities changed. Maybe you want to travel more. Something else shifted. You want a real vacation without your business punishing you for leaving or having to drag a laptop with you and partaking in work on a vacation. Maybe your identity shifted so much that the business you built 3 years ago feels like it belongs to somebody you still recognize, but don't fully live as anymore. That is what I mean when I say your business needs to travel with you. Not just physically, personally, emotionally, structurally, seasonally. A business that can travel with you is one that can move through your actual life without making you start over every time you evolve. And at some point, the old version of you did her job. She built the things, she held the vision, she survived what needed surviving. She created, she led, she learned. She got you here. So call her front and center. Give her a fucking high five. Give her a hug and tell her, thank you. I've got it from here. I think one of the reasons people resist changing their business is because change can feel like betrayal. Like somehow admitting that version of me was wrong. I chose badly. I'm starting over again. But I don't see it that way anymore. Your business is not supposed to keep you loyal to an identity you have outgrown. It is supposed to evolve with the person you are becoming. And when I look back over my own businesses, that became really obvious. My first business in my mid-20s, I carried this dream since I was a little girl that I wanted to be a professional fitness dancer. So eventually, Believe in Achieve Fitness was born, and I spent about a decade doing what I loved while helping other people feel stronger, braver, and more alive inside their bodies. And at the time, it was fitness. But looking back, in hindsight, that business taught me so much more than how to lead a workout. It taught me how to lead rooms, how to read people, how to feel the energy of a room before anybody said anything, how to hold space, how to take up space, how to trust myself in front of people. That wisdom didn't disappear when the fitness business ended. It became the soil. And eventually, another business grew from it. My intuitive healing work, that era was different. Oh my gosh, deeper, more internal, more confronting. That was the era where I learned how to trust my own knowing on an entirely different level. I was traveling the country, healing childhood trauma, owning an equine farm, building another business, becoming somebody who could hear herself clearly enough to actually act on what she knew. And ultimately, that became the era where I saved my life during a heart attack. That sentence still lands differently because there are moments where trusting yourself stops being so nice personal development concept. It becomes survival. That was the kind of inner knowing that makes you your own hero. And none of that disappeared either. That era handed something forward. And now here I am, full-time on the road, living in a fifth wheel, writing. Never thought that would happen. Leading, interrupting patterns, building pattern break advisory, creating a business that has to move with the woman I am now. Not just the professional fitness dancer, not just the intuitive healer, or the farm owner or the caregiver, and not the version of me who had to prove she could carry everything. The woman all of those eras created, and that is the part I think we miss. Every business I built looked different, but underneath them, there was continuity. Movement, transformation, pattern recognition, reading what wasn't being said, helping people see themselves differently, helping them move. The container changed, the woman changed, the root didn't disappear. Every business was an identity portal, a place where one version of me became strong enough to hand the work to the next. So maybe the pattern isn't, I need to reinvent myself. The pattern is that you haven't recognized the continuity yet. You keep looking at the old business, the old title, the old career, the old version of yourself as separate chapters. But what if they're roots? What did that version teach you? What skill did she develop? What capacity did she build? What did she survive? What did she learn about people? What did she learn about herself? What part of that wisdom is still underneath the work you're doing now? Because pivoting doesn't erase the past. Evolution doesn't make the old work wrong. A business can completely change form and still carry the same root. The problem happens when you keep carrying structures that belong to the old era just because the wisdom still matters. Those aren't the same thing. The wisdom may belong. The structure may not. The title may not. The offer may not. The schedule may not. The way you marketed it may not. The way you delivered may not. The technology could be different. The expectations definitely may not. And this is where business can become incredibly heavy. Because now you're trying to evolve while dragging an entire former identity behind you. Maybe the old version, you built a business that required constant availability. Maybe she believed an opportunity needed a yes. Maybe she built under urgency. Maybe she thought professionalism meant being reachable all the damn time. Or maybe she built a complicated tech stack because complicated looked successful. Maybe she believed resting meant losing momentum. Maybe she believed if she wasn't carrying everything personally, the whole thing would fall apart. She may have had reasons for every one of those choices. Respect them. Learn from them. Just stop letting an old survival strategy masquerade as a current business strategy. This even applies to technology. Your tech should support the era you're actually living in now, not the business model you used to have. Believe and Achieve Fitness needed one kind of visibility and structure. My intuitive healing work needed another. Pattern Break Advisory needs something cleaner, lighter, more immediate, more mobile, more rooted in real-time proximity. And that doesn't mean everybody needs to live on the road. It means your tools should support the way your life actually moves. So instead of asking, what tool makes me look more professional? Ask, does this give me more of my life back than it takes? Does it reduce repetitive work? Does it protect my attention? Does it support the way I actually serve people now? Or am I maintaining something because it belonged to a version of my business I don't even run anymore? That question has been rather fucking relevant around here lately. Technology should amplify the work. It should not become the work. If you want to play with this yourself, grab a pen and paper and write this down. What era of my business am I still carrying? Maybe it's the proving era, the survival era, the hustle era, the everyone needs me era, the I can't rest or everything falls apart era, the I have to look successful before I can feel successful era. Whatever yours is, write it down without judging it. Then ask, what did that era teach me? What strength did I build from it? What wisdom belongs in the next chapter? And then ask the harder question. What am I still carrying from that era that feels heavy now? Is it an old title, an offer, a schedule, a client expectation, your tech stack, a way of communicating, a way of measuring success? Maybe it's simply the belief that changing direction means you failed. Then interrupt one thing, not 27 things, one. Release the title, simplify the offer, cancel the tech tool, change the boundary, stop apologizing for the pivot. And ask yourself, what if I am not starting over? What if I am integrating every era that made me? A visionary woman does not build one identity and then spend the rest of her life protecting it from change. She evolves, she dreams, she learns. She lets one version of the work prepare for the next. The first dream, the first business, the big pivot, the survival moment, the healing season, the integration. And eventually, when you look backward, you start seeing something very different. Nothing was wasted. The fitness business wasn't separate from my intuitive work. My intuitive work wasn't separate from the advisory. The farm, travel, heart attack, healing, pattern work, it was all there because it belongs, not because every single piece has to stay in the same form forever, because every piece became part of the woman leading now. Nature makes this really obvious. A tree does not become a tree without the seed. A river doesn't arrive where you see it without every curve it already traveled. And your business isn't starting over every time it changes form. It's layering. It's carrying sediment. It's developing roots. Rooted does not mean never changing. Rooted means the change has somewhere to belong. So maybe the old version of you doesn't need to disappear. Maybe she needs a different job. She can be the ancestor, the teacher, the evidence, the woman who says, I know what it took to get us here. She just doesn't need to be the CEO of the new era. Respect the old version. Just stop handing her the keys to the current empire. So if this triggered something within you that you've been feeling in your own business or identity, the full written piece lives on my Substack in Tea and Tech with a Side of Truth newsletter. That's where Rooted Body, Rooted Business lives in its fullest form. And if you already know the old version of you is still running decisions she was never meant to keep making, that's the deeper work I do inside Pattern Break Advisory. We identify the pattern. We interrupt it while it's happening. And we build from the person you actually are now, not after life gets simpler, and not once every viable variable behaves, because we know that is not real life. We do this now. So all the links are below. And if you're watching here on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe, turn on those notifications, because we are apparently, we're really going to keep dismantling old identities, walking bourbon, living in a camper, and minding our own damn business. The old version of you did her job. Thank her. Then lead from here.